Hi, Priscilla. How are you? Jennifer, how are you? Okay. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, my name is Christy Attaway. I am a five-star transformation coach, living my best life in the summer here in the heat in Florida. You guys, it is so hot. It's like 100 degrees and the humidity, but honestly, it feels so good. I love the humidity. Some people hate humidity, but I love it. But I just want to welcome you. I know a lot of you will see me in on Slack, and we're just going to review the basics of the five-star transformation program. I know you're all part of it, but I think it's always fun to hear it from someone else's perspective. So I've been doing weight loss for over 23 years. And there's something that's super awesome when it comes to weight loss, and that is checking in the morning and checking in the evening. And that's what we have you guys set up. We have you set up to win, where you're checking in the morning and the evening. And that's a big game changer. Like I said, I've done weight loss for a lot of years, and there's a couple small things that will make the difference in a program in you guys getting success. So if you're not checking in the evening, but you are in the morning, first of all, good job for checking in the morning. But I would recommend that you guys put an alarm on, put by your bed, go in and take the quiz. Let's say it wasn't a good day, still take your quiz, you guys, in the evening. That's what will make you have a better day the next day. So let's just review the 5 stars. Take your supplements in the morning. Hopefully you guys are all on the doTERRA supplements. It is a lot of supplements, I admit, but I love them. My favorite ones are the Terrazymes and probiotic. Key is tell the right story. Make sure you guys are coming into that channel every morning and checking in. You guys, I had about, I want to say it was like 6 days where I didn't check in correctly. I have my family walking in, sorry. Yeah, I had it planned for you guys to be gone. But I had about 6 days where I didn't check in, and you guys, it made it the biggest difference. I was in a slump. I wasn't living my best self, and I could totally tell. So make sure you guys are checking in the morning and to tell the right channel. A in START is activity. In the activity in the 5-star transformation program, we really stress steps, getting in your 10,000 steps. If you don't have a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, just make sure you guys download a tracking app on your phone. And most of the time, if you go for a good walk, you can use that and then maybe add another 2,000 to 3,000 steps on it if you're not walking around with that at all times. Okay. But I would suggest investing in like a cheaper Fitbit if you don't have one. And then R is that you guys are reporting in each night. So coming back into that check-in channel, that second check-in point for the day. And then the other R is reject white flour and sugar. So that's going to be what's not only going to help you guys get the weight off, but that's what's going to help you keep the weight off long-term. So some people say, oh, you're just one of those fitness girls, or they're going to say it to you guys as you guys get into your right size body. They're going to be like, oh, you've always been like that. But truth is the only thing that's going to keep you in the zone. Is staying away from the white flour and the sugar. Those are the 2 key components. So right now, if you feel like, should I be doing intermittent fasting? Should I be working out hard? Should I be like doing boot camp? Should I be doing CrossFit? You should put your heart and soul, your dedication towards staying off white flour and sugar. Do everything it takes. Master that, because that's what's going to get the weight off, and it's going to keep the weight off. Okay. So I just think it's fun to review those 5 stars. Everyone give me a thumbs up that you guys are going to commit to checking in the morning and checking in the evening. Give me a yes in the chat. Go ahead and give me a yes or a thumbs up. Awesome. And then let's go ahead and have everyone like type in where you guys are from, what the weather was like today. I always love to hear weather. Everyone at least into the 70s, 80s now where you are. Write in where you're from. And let's also have you guys write in your biggest win for the week. So where are you from and what was your biggest win? Go ahead and type that into the chat. Casey, you look so pretty. We have a lot of people on tonight. I love this. So if you just hopped on, you're just typing in where you're from and your biggest win for the week. What was your biggest win so far? I know it's only Tuesday, but you know, if something happened through the weekend, give me a big win. Or give us a big win. San Diego, sunny, back on track after a long week of vacation. It feels so good to get back on track, right? Get that laundry done. Jennifer's from Texas. She passed up on Bluebell ice cream, especially when it's hot. Good job. Katie is in Morgan, Utah, stayed accountable. Katie's had a lot of events. Her son just went into the mission field for his church. And she hopped on the call tonight, you guys. So let's everyone give her a big hand on that one because that's showing up. Kelly, biggest win for the week. You were sweating, cleaning your house. I know that's what I was doing. I was cleaning my garage. Woo. Showed up here, recommit yourself for the summer. Yes, super important to recommit yourself for the summer. Yeah, think about that, guys. I love that you said that, Kelly. Recommit for the summer. I want you all to think about like September 5th, September 10th, September 15th, when everyone's like, the kids are back to school. Everyone's back to school. It's interesting how we go by seasons. You don't have to, though. You can always have your own season. You can have your lifestyle season year round amongst all the seasons, just so you know. You'll adapt to those habits in the 5-star transformation. But it's important to think about, okay, so it's June. So I have all of June, all of July, I have all of August. How do I want to feel? You guys, that's 90 days, basically. That's a whole body transformation. So much can happen in such a short amount of time. How do you want to feel by September 10th, September 15th? Robin from living in Boise, 90 degrees. Yes, it gets hot there. Meal prep, you did meal prep. That's awesome. If you guys want to learn more about meal prep, that's something we could do a call on. I would love to teach you guys the tips and tricks behind meal prep. Staying off gluten, dairy, and sugar. Big game changer when you stay off that gluten, dairy, and sugar. New Jersey, drinking more water. Good job, Beverly Ann. And Casey being a good example of lots of family visiting the past week. Yep. We all know how that can go with family members and they see what you're eating, what you're not eating. They can make comments, right? All the comments. Lynn, big win, more water, better digestion, which is awesome during the summer. Crystal West Point, stayed away from sugar during vacation. That's huge. And Penny, Malata, Idaho, 75 degrees. Ooh, it is pretty there at this time. And not skipping a meal. Yep. That's another thing. I was talking with a client. She was, kind of stalling on her weight loss. And so if some of you do better with smaller meals throughout the day, my client was sitting at a weight and we broke. I think she lost 3 pounds by just eating every 3 hours, small meals. So that's, it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone, but if sometimes we're overeating on meals, it's something to think about. So not skipping meals because it can make us so we overeat. So awesome. We have some good wins this week. Katie mentioned that we have a guest on the call. Am I right? Before I go into it further, that is going to share her success with us tonight.
Is here. Can you pull up her pictures? Because that's always fun.
Yeah.
I texted them earlier because don't you have a Mac? Okay.
Yep, I do. I'll do my screen share here in a second.
Okay. Awesome.
You guys all have to wait. Okay, these are Jennifer's. How many weeks are these pictures that I'm showing?
I believe it's her 12-week picture. So she's dropped another 7 pounds since these pictures.
So her total weight loss right now is?
I believe 42. Jennifer, are you in a place when you can where you can unmute?
Oh, yes, I am.
Okay, good. Jennifer is one of my most favorite people. Christy's only talked to her a few times and feels the same way. Casey introduced her to the program, so that's super exciting. I was friends with her when I lived in Texas, and so you'll learn a little bit more about her as Christy talks to her. But these are her pictures, so I just wanted to celebrate. She looks amazing. Christy, are you still here, or should I keep talking?
I'm here. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and show her side pictures too, because those are some really good ones. So check it. Okay, that's wouldn't you guys all agree too that the shirt is getting a little too big? Okay, so I'm going to do my next little comment of what we talk about when we drop weight. And I think we talked about it, Jennifer. Are you, go ahead and unmute yourself if you can.
Okay.
So when your clothes get too big, you throw them away.
100% agree.
But I think it would be fun for you to keep the shirt and then tighten it, you know, like with a rubber band behind as you continue to take the pictures. So you can I'll let you keep this outfit.
Okay.
But Jennifer, I will go ahead and I just wanted everyone to be able to look at your pictures a little bit longer, but we're going to talk about Jennifer's transformation, why she chose to start the program, why she continued to why she wanted to continue the program after her first 12 weeks. Because as you all know, we start you in 12-week chunks. Humans do need, like starting and end points. And we always think at the beginning, will I get to my goal? I always tell my clients, don't think about that. Think it's not appropriate to think about if you need to do round 2, round 3, just keep until you get to your goal. Don't think about how many weeks it needs to be. So we're going to talk about why she continued on with the program and, kind of her challenges along the way and the hiccups and how you got through those. I think that's sometimes the most beneficial when we're able to hear like what the hiccups are along the way and how you got through them, because that's how you can help all of us. So, Jennifer, why did you choose to start the 12-week the 5-star transformation program? What got you to say yes to Katie?
Sure. Well, so as Katie mentioned, Casey Adams is my friend, and I saw her success, and it all kind of fell at the right time, right? I don't think it was coincidence, but I had gone to the doctor, had some labs. They came back and said I was diabetic, and and so that was kind of an eye opener for me. And then I happened to, see Casey, and so I kind of asked her, what are you doing? What have you done to look that good, kind of a thing? And that's how it started. And then I just cautiously reached out to Katie only with the intent of getting off of soda. I was a big Coke Zero person. So I had at least 6 a day at that point. I'm a nurse and work, and you reach for that, the caffeine. I had worked night shift and things like that. So yeah, that's what got me to do it. But like I said, I came into it that was my first intent, not really thinking that I could get off of the sugar. That seemed very far away, and it really honestly scared me.
Okay, so you must have had like a conversation with Casey about the soda or something. That must have been Or was that more of a conversation you had with Katie? Like, you know what, I need to get off that.
Yes, that was, Katie and I talked about it on our first phone call, you know, and then she told me a little more about the program, and I was like, well, I'm going to work on the soda. I'll think about the other stuff, but that was my main goal to start.
Well, I love that, Jennifer, because that's that whole concept of like, instead of thinking about like the whole concept in life of like, let's not think about what we don't have. Let's focus on what we do have and make it more beautiful. Right. And then it naturally progresses. And same thing with weight loss. If it feels overwhelming, find something you can do or that you want to do. It sounded like that was a challenge that felt desirable to you. Like, you know, I really want to tackle that. I want to go about that. And you kind of left the overwhelming things to the side. But I have a feeling that you were like, we'll address that at some point. Like you kind of stated that. Well, you know, we'll talk about that later or whatever. So, you know, that's something good for a lot of us. Like if any of us didn't have a great week and we need a so-called restart, focus on what you want or something that feels desirable or something you know you can do and make it that much better, beautify it, master it to the T or however you want to look at it. And then it'll naturally progress you to the next thing, because it sounds like sugar was your next step. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes. And I spent several weeks, Katie can correct me, but I spent several weeks just tapering down the soda. It wasn't just all in one fell swoop. And then I started kind of easing into the no sugar and the no white flour.
So what made you tell us that segue of when you're like, okay, I'm going to now start thinking about staying off flour and sugar? Was it after like a couple of days of being successful of no soda, or was it just you started feeling better and your body started craving another habit?
Probably a little bit of all of that. And Katie and I talking to, I also kind of the orientation videos that kind of walk you through a process. That's something that's been missing, you know, when I've tried to change things before, is the mental side of things. And the willpower doesn't work and those kinds of things. It made such sense to me when it just in a quick way explaining the brain, you know, and it was kind of eye-opening. And in fact, I was telling it to everybody who would listen to me, really, because I was like, that's why. I mean, I thought understanding the willpower alone, I was like, I just hadn't heard that or thought about that before. And so, and then Katie acknowledging that it was scary, hearing other people on here say it's scary. And I'm like, okay, I'm not alone in this. And they came out the other side. And what's the worst that can happen? Like, you know, so I'm like, what have I got to lose, kind of a thing.
So what were your other time, like other weight loss? Because I know that you have also had, in our other chats together, that you also had a journey where you did drop weight, right?
That's
a while
correct.
ago.
I did.
Okay. So when you went off,
go ahead. No, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So when you went off sugar that time, what was the difference? Like you just said, there was like more of a mindset, there was learning, there were people supporting you, or people saying that they weren't the only ones scared, so you didn't feel alone. What was the other experience? I just like to hear the difference.
Right. So the other time I actually didn't cut out sugar. I reduced it or changed it to artificial sugar. But I didn't cut it out. I just was moving a lot. I was working out like a fiend, just trying to go. Well, then I had an illness, you know, I had some breast cancer and I had an injury that put me out of the game for a couple of years. And it was very depressing because I was like, okay, I've lost it. That was my power. My power came in being able to move. So this opened up a whole new world for me that I could actually change just based on these, you know, on my eating choices.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up. Has anyone else had that experience? I would love for you to put that in the chat. I'm working with another girl, a one-on-one. She's not in our group transformation, although eventually I'm going to be meeting or inviting her to these. But she had she was an athlete in high school, and she had got a back injury, a shoulder injury, and without knowing it, and Katie, you would relate with this. I would love for you to chat that in. It's almost like she felt like instead of, like we're going along with our health and all of a sudden our body kind of happens to us, something happens to us. And it feels kind of like I'm sure you felt this way, Jennifer, like a slap in the face. Like I had no idea that was going to come along. And I would never want to say like our bodies betray us, but it's a feeling of like, almost like betrayal, or a feeling of like, where did that come from? And it takes away that control or that power or that connection we have with our body. Katie, yeah, processing loss. Yep. So there's a grieving that goes along with it, with injury, right? So yeah, like I shattered my wrist. I've told you guys this 1,000 stories. I was teaching, like 10 to 12 classes a week. And it's like, oh, well, now I can't do my job anymore. Like, what am I going to do? So that it's a feeling of overwhelm, and it can really backtrack us. And I was just kind of wondering if other people have had that experience, like where a sickness comes upon you. Or Jessica, I'm sure you could chime in if you want to put that in the chat. Where all of a sudden it's like, okay, so how do I go about it? But what I love, Jennifer, is that when you reapproached it, you looked, or maybe without knowing it, you were seeking for something different that would approach the body in a different way. And that's key for all of us to like tune into, is she found a different way. You can do the same program. A lot of you will sign up for a 12 weeks again, and we invite you to, we hope that you will. But each time you go about the 5-star transformation program, notice if you're saying the same things, feeling the same way, saying the same comments are going through your mind, or the belief process, or not believing in yourself. And how you went about it in a different way, Jennifer, that's the difference, because you had a different approach on your journey. Is this making sense at all? What I'm saying?
Exactly.
I'm noting? Yeah.
Yes, and it's empowering, right? To know, oh my goodness, okay, I'm not tied to, if my body can't do physically what I want it to, I'm not just tied to that. There are, like you said, other ways.
There are other ways. And so then how did you stay consistent with this? Because we could easily say at the beginning of a program, well, that's just like a little habit. Is that really going to pay off and do anything? How did you stay consistent with, like, if I just go off soda? Like how
Right.
did you stay consistent? Because I mean, I've heard that from a lot of people, and a lot of you could maybe agree with me that it's like, yeah, but I'm not like working out, and I'm not signed up for a boot camp, and I'm not, right? Those types of things. How did you tell us the consistency pattern for you there?
Sure. So I do think habit stacking helps in consistency, building off that one little thing that leads you to that next step. So it's like taking that first step, and then you take another step, and then you take another step. I will say, for me, accountability works for me. Like, you find a program that works for you, and accountability is everything. I'll give a quick example. We were sitting in Jurassic World Dominion, the movie, the other night, and everybody around me had giant popcorn, and it smelled really good. It was like really fresh popcorn. And I was like, I could just grab a handful, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not. We're in this challenge, and I'm getting that star, like I'm not doing it. So accountability works for me. And then focusing, I have little mind tricks that I do, the planning, the fail planning. So, because I do eat in a lot of social situations, whether it be family get-togethers, out to eat with friends, or whatever. And are planning it ahead of time, either looking at the menu to plan what I'm going to eat, or to already know I'm not already have it set in place what I'm going to say during that also helped, as well as Katie said something, and she may have mentioned it another time in here about when she has watched family members like her son eating a cookie, and she timed how long it took for him to eat that cookie. And so, let's just say it was, I don't know, maybe it was 2 minutes, Katie, I can't remember, to eat his cookies that he had. And she's like, I can do this for 2 minutes. And I have relied on that many times. Like, I can do this while everybody's eating the birthday cake. I can do this for 5 minutes, and focusing on the relationships when you're in those settings as well.
On the relation. Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay. So the habit stacking, just start with one thing and go to the next. I'm just curious, Jennifer, have you ever judged that type of thinking? Like, have you ever been hesitant towards that, because of the lack of maybe patience or anything, or maybe you have a lot of patience?
Oh no, I don't know that I have a lot of patience. No, but maybe not even with maybe just thinking, oh yeah, right. Maybe not giving it enough credibility that it really can work. Like taking those little small steps, can make such a huge difference in the end.
I'm proud of you for, seeing it that it truly is less is more. If you start with one little thing, the most simple thing, just mastering, okay, I'm just going to drink water every day and stay away from soda, everything else, and just look where it's taking you. And it's just amazing. And then it led to staying away from, white flour, sugar. And now in your journey, I've seen you on a bike on Facebook. So now you're working out a little more. Am I right?
Yeah. So now that's it. That's factoring into it also. And and that's wonderful. It's really, I'm so happy to be moving, because I find a lot of joy in that. And so, yes, I am happy to add that back in, but it's been such a blessing, so even the hardship that came with the injuries brought this about, right? It brought me to here. And that's that's awesome.
Did you ever think that you were going to, when you first started, or maybe from the last time when you dropped weight and then you got, the breast cancer, that whole situation came about, did you ever feel like you were going to move again, or were you scared to move, or?
Right. I didn't think I'd be able to move in the same way again. And I may not be able to, go as intense or whatever, but I've had to, just like with this, I've had to find other ways to move that I can do. And for example, I just started doing in the last month or so yoga, and that's opened up a whole new world that I never knew about. I kind of used to smile at yoga, but now I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's definitely like I Dream a Genie, the genie in a bottle. It's until you go, it's it's so much, it's just wild and crazy and fun and intense. That's so cool. So you went from just starting by going off soda, and here you are doing yoga. If you look at the timeline, you guys, and it all started with her with habit stacking. I heard habit stacking and accountability and like-minded people, showing up to these calls, hearing different things that people say. And so you were more curious. You were in more of a coachable learning mode. And when we're wanting to change habits, you guys, getting almost childlike and I don't know, teacher, but getting that more coachable and I want to learn more, and I want to find different sayings and definitions to words that will really soak in. Because it will make your transformation different each time. So I love that. This is something else to note if some of you are just starting, you guys, that when you habit stack, I've told this to Katie and Brittany when we first started coaching together, is always start with always start with that, taking out white flour or sugar. As time goes on, the body will start to crave the movement. So if you just started and you're oh, working out sounds exhausting and miserable to me, that's okay. Let it be exhausting and miserable. Just go on a nice, simple walk, just enjoy nature. But just know as time goes along, there will be a time where your body just wants to feel like it wants to play. And I always say that the workout is like the playground. It's like recess to the body when you're eating really good. So like eating really good is like going to school, doing the work, doing the homework. And then it's like eventually your body just craves to go out to recess, to play Foursquare, to play pickleball, whatever it is. And you totally went in that timeline, Jennifer. But you went about it differently. Your last program that you did, you were just moving a lot, which is not a wrong thing. There's nothing bad with that, but you found a new order and you really keyed into that. And I love that. Tell us some hiccup moments. You just told us about the movie, but we would love to hear like some other moments. Were there any moments where you were like, screw it, I'm done, I'm going to throw in the towel?
Well, Katie gets to witness it when we do our little reporting in our little report group. But yeah, I had a night last night, actually. It'd been an emotional day. Life came up. And we went out to eat. And while I managed to keep, sugar-free and flour-free, I still like overate. Like I was just like, just give me the food, right? Like, and I was like, oh, come on now. But what I love about it is, number one, tomorrow's a new day, and you celebrate all the good that happened every day, right? We make mistakes every day in life. So you just keep on trucking. You only look back to see how far you've come, to me. And so, but the other thing is as you get in this program, and it took a while. I'm like, I want to say, the first 3 to 4 weeks, I was just pushing through, I'm going to do this. I'm committed to 12 weeks. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But now I notice when I maybe didn't make the best choice. Now my body feels it, right? And that helps spur on making the right choices. Cause I'm like, okay, is it worth it? I have to decide, is it worth that heavy feeling I'm going to feel after that? Right.
Yeah. So asking yourself, is it worth it? And how do I want to feel that next day? So it sounds like you do a lot of self-talk, which is good. Like you actually have conversations with yourself. Am I right? A little bit?
Probably too much. Yes, I do.
No,
I do.
awesome.
Because I learned that after, like, I used to kind of, laugh at maybe affirmations, but oh my goodness, have I learned the power in your words to yourself. Right. So yes, I do a lot of, I can do this. I've got this. I use phrases from music. Lyrics speak a lot to me. And I have a few songs that I have, like, pieces that's what I think when it gets hard, or I've even had them like taped at my desk at work, some of the lyrics to help me get through things as well.
Yeah, actually, I really like that. I'm going to challenge all of you guys to find a song. Actually, about 6 years ago, I did a fitness competition, and yep, it was probably one of the most interesting things I've done, but honestly, it was the best thing I did, because it's something I always wanted to do, and it was a challenge. It was also super embarrassing, but it was also like, it just put me totally out of my comfort zone. But my coach, the very first thing that she told me is find a song, play it every single workout during your cardio, and visualize how you want to look when you're on stage. I was the fittest I'd ever been. I was the most content and confident in my body I'd ever been, and I was proud of myself. And sometimes we look at like some of these competitions that people will do as extreme or crazy, but there's always affirmation that goes with this type of athleticism. There's always songs, there's always quotes, there's words. You guys, it's sports psychology. And when you can get your body in like a zoned in mode and a rhythm, it is so empowering. Literally, that was the fittest I'd ever been. I was listening to a Katy Perry song, so find a song and listen to it every day and visualize that body, that very best self, that happiest self, and how she feels from head to toe. It's actually really hard, you guys. If you close your eyes, in fact, close your eyes and try to visualize yourself looking at yourself in, whether it's a tankini, a bikini, a swimsuit, an outfit, it's hard. I guarantee most of you aren't just looking at her right now. It takes work looking at what her face looks like. What does her skin look like? What does her, posture look like? What does her core look like? Legs, glutes. What's her energy level? It's sports psychology. And when you can match it up with a song or an affirmation, a saying, and it's just not a one and done, it's an everyday thing. So I love that you said that, Jennifer, that lyrics really stick with you. I would just keep finding those lyrics, put a mesh of those songs and find a playlist for yourself. So that when you're road biking and you're on that rhythm, you're on that cadence, right? On a speed day or whatever it may be, that you're visualizing that body from head to toe and how she feels. So that's something I think we should all start sharing in the group, is your song. I think it's a really good one. What would you tell someone in this group that might feel frustrated or might feel like maybe they're, I don't love the term, but I'll just say it, like fell off the bandwagon, or like wanting to restart, or what would you tell someone? Have a conversation with yourself, Jennifer. What would you tell Jennifer?
I would say do it. Just do it, right? Take that step, start over again. If you're not going anywhere, you're not progressing. So make that one right choice again the next day. Maybe you fell off and you're back down to square one. So start at square one. That's all right. Our entire lives are a process of learning and changing and growing. So use this day to make it a good day. And if this one didn't work out, start it again tomorrow. That's how I feel. That's what I tell myself.
Love that. I love that it's a philosophy for life too, because one philosophy in one arena, it always slides across the board. So how we do one thing is how we can do everything. So if you have a model of how you see the world to be and how you approach challenges and obstacles, I just finished a book called The Obstacle is the Way, and how obstacles, it helps us grow, it helps us become. It's just something I started adding into how I view the world now, versus running from the obstacle, so I love that it is a part of also how you see your life and how you see your day-to-day process. So that's really cool. Well, thank you, Jennifer. We're so excited and we're so proud of you. So proud of you. And we're thankful that you are participating in the 5-star transformation. You've always been so positive to speak out. Does it help you every time you kind of do some testimonials? Because this is kind of like your third testimonial you've done with us. Does it also help you? Does it up your game? Up your commitment level?
Well, it helps me to reflect, right? And makes you stop and think about where you are. So I'm so sorry if my reflection is y'all are having to hear my voice. But I will say one thing I did. So on the Slack app, you can do a search. And so I did a search of the Tell the Right Story thread of the things that I had put in the Tell the Right Story thread. And it was kind of cool. So I'd say if you've been doing, the program for a little bit, try that out and just see where you've come. Look where your focus has been.
Like going back and reading your journal. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. Reflection's super, super important. When we plan our week as a family, we don't do it every week, but when we do, the very first thing we do is we reflect. What went well this week? What was the timeline? What were the big ahas? And when you start recognizing okay, we went from point A to point B. In fact, you guys, we just bought our very first house. in 10 years. It's been 10 years since we owned a home. And I did a timeline of events of like how we improved our credit score, and then how we just applied for this loan, but this loan wasn't the right loan. And then when we refinance, and just looking at those timelines, it changed my whole story of how I looked at money, and how I looked at like maybe how I'd been a failure in this arena. It was like, no, that's not the story anymore. And when you just piece your timelines together, I love timelines. It's probably the only part I ever understood in the Bible and scriptures and stuff like that. I love timelines. So I was talking with Katie's sister, actually, Kristen, and she was like, you know what, I should put a timeline of like my health. And this happened in this year. And Jennifer, like you were diagnosed in this year, and then you lost weight in these months. It's super awesome to keep like a running tabloid like a timeline of events. Also with your menstrual cycles, girls, is that you guys have timelines. So I have a period journal that I keep, a cycle journal, a 28-day cycle journal, and I highly suggest it. I could go into depth about that one day, but it's super empowering. It helps you not think you're crazy. I hear that a lot from women, like, oh, I'm just crazy. I'm like, no, you're not crazy. Let's see. And most likely you said you were crazy last month, the month before, and the month before on day 11, 12, and 13. So we do have these similar feelings that come about on the same days of months. And if you are postmenopausal, you guys, you still have somewhat of a cycle. You really do. You're a woman, you're programmed. And so you may not like actually have an actual period where you bleed, but I have women, I've worked with women where they've had total hysterectomies. And even if their ovaries are taken out, or if they have their ovaries, there's still somewhat of a cycle that goes on. It's maybe not as intense, but I just think it's super important to keep that timeline going. Okay. So if you guys don't have a journal, like a period journal, I would suggest it. Again, start day 1, 2, 3. Day 1 is the day you start your period. If you have an IUD, that's why you definitely need a period journal, because you don't know when you're having your period. But if you need any help on that, just message me on Slack and I can totally help you guys. So thank you so much, Jennifer. Does anyone, let's go ahead and put in the chat what our like favorite part about what Jennifer talked about tonight, or like what you're proud of her for, or what inspired you from Jennifer's story. Let's go ahead and put it below. I know Katie's typing too. Beverly Ann said, congratulations. Katie, only look back to see how far I've come. Love that. Only look back to see how far. Positive mindset. Beverly Ann noticed a positive mindset. Yes, very positive. And I love that you're coachable with yourself, Jennifer. That's like super powerful, that you can kind of have these conversations with yourself. If you guys aren't talking to yourself and actually having conversations with yourself, I suggest it, because it's you and you. Words matter. How important it is to talk to yourself, and words of affirmation. That was a big game changer for me in life. At one time, I had no idea how horrible my words were of what I was saying to myself over and over. And that's where I really shifted. I just started with better words. Start small, build upon habits. Congratulations, you love her happy and positive attitude by Penny. Being teachable, learning a new way, being willing to try another approach. Yep. So if something isn't working, you guys, maybe step back and be like, what am I trying too hard on? In fact, a new girl just started. I don't think she's on the phone tonight, but she's actually a family member. And we were talking about this approach, and you could tell she got the commitment level on the phone, and she was like, okay, I'm ready. And we talked about how she needs to start focusing on, it's not me or my family. It can be me having a healthy lifestyle with my family. It doesn't have to be this or that. It can be both. And so that's really where she needed to shift her mindset. But immediately she went into, okay, so what meal plan should I do? And I said, I don't want you thinking about the meal plan. And that's what Katie was saying, learning a new way, being willing to try another approach. I said, the new approach is going to be about you keeping your mindset around how it can benefit you and your family at the same time, simultaneously. It can be at the same time. You can benefit and your family can benefit. Just a new way of looking at it. Jessica said, one step at a time, soda first, sugar after, habit stacking, recognizing when you're eating, your feelings. Yep. Okay. Starting with one habit change, reduce sugar, then move on to something else. So I love it. Yeah, Jennifer, in fact, I'm going to screenshot this so that you can since we're talking about reflection and like journaling and all that kind of stuff. All right. Do you guys have any questions moving into this next? Oh, okay. I thought I hung up. I thought I like push end. That's why I went, I literally thought I pushed end on the Zoom call and I was like, oh, it's over. Do you guys have any questions or comments about 5-star transformation? Is anyone needing like some meal plan ideas? I have 1,000 meal plans written up. Katie has meal plans written up. I know Brittany does as well. Any questions or comments? Go for it. Or if you have an aha and you want to just state it out loud, if you want to have some bragging moments, this is your time, because it feels good when you put it out there. It feels so good. I'll brag real quick so that it opens up the bragging rights. My husband, you guys, he's doing a program called 75 Hard, and he is down a total of 22 pounds. I'm so excited because he's looking better. I can see his jawline. I can see his face. But more than anything, he went about it just like Jennifer, how she went about her program with a different approach. He went about it that he didn't care if he lost weight or not. He just felt like his mindset was these were his words. He was like, I am being the biggest baby. I'm being a little kid. I'm spoiling myself, and it's doing nothing but making me have horrible habits. I have the worst habits and I have the weakest mindset right now. And he admitted it to himself, and he just said, I don't like this. I don't like feeling this like weak in the brain. I don't like it at all. So I'm going about this for my brain. So he went about it for his mindset, his motivation, his self-belief. And by default, he's dropped weight every day. So it's just been so awesome to have that influence around, because I'm a huge believer in feeling better physically. But I love that he went about it literally for that mental strength. So power of influence is a real thing. So anyone else want to brag up? Have you guys started to see how people around you are a little more motivated? I know Katie's influence has been big on her boys. They started, like, her son went out on his mission, but he went out with a bang. Like, he wanted to go out feeling healthy. So he and I had a conversation together of like having some commitments while he's serving a mission for his church, so that when he's out there, he's not only feeling spiritually fed, but he's feeding his physical body well. And no doubt that came from that eagerness to reach out to me came from his example from his mama. So good job, Katie. And then the brother below him decided to start too. I mean, the ripple effect is amazing. So we're going to talk.
Thank you, Christy. Oh, did someone else unmute?
Nope, just you. I saw you unmuting, so
Okay.
go for it.
Oh, I was just telling you thank you. But yeah, it is. I always, when I first started, it was like, I don't want to be the only one. And for years I was like, if my husband's not doing this, then we can just be like this together and eat what we want and be overweight, and it is what it is. But there came a point where I really wasn't happy with the way that I felt or looked. So I started, and yeah, there is a ripple effect, and it's awesome when other family members join you, but it is hard in the beginning to be the example, but it is cool when you can inspire someone through your story. So yeah, it was awesome this last week when my son was really excited to talk to Christy. And you guys, I mean, he's a 19-year-old boy, but he dropped like 8 or 9 pounds. My husband's like, we might want to get the scale checked, but he didn't tweak
Already?
Yeah, already. So he's super committed. And then his younger brother, I have a 16-year-old, he's like, I'm doing it too. So anyway, yeah, it is exciting. And then their dad is like, okay, let's all do this together. So yeah, it's exciting.
Awesome. And then, just on a complete polar opposite, I'm going to tell you guys that if you don't have the support around you, just keep going. My husband and I, we were married and going to the gym when we were in high school together, you guys. And for the first 12, 13 years of our marriage, we were working out together. And then like year 13, all the way till about now, it was just me. And I could have easily been like, well, if he's not going to do it, I'm not going to. Or if you're single, or if you're just, working around people that are just bumheads, that just have horrible habits and just eating sloppy, and it can get to you. But I'm going to tell you to put your head up and be your own coach, and remember that this is a sport. You have to look at this as a sport and engage into it. So also keep going if you feel like the ripple effect isn't happening. But at some point, the ripple somewhere will happen, whether it's with generational cousins, nieces, coworkers, whatever it is. At some point, it may not be soon, maybe years and years down the road, but it will happen. Something to think about. So don't ever give up. Okay. All right, guys. Well, that concludes our call tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you, Jennifer. And like she says, it was really good for her to reflect. So if we call on you to do a testimonial, we would love for the word yes to come out of your mouth, because it does help you recommit. It also helps you get your timeline down. It can help you just work through things too. So I've always seen it to be a really good thing for people that put their story out there, because it just kind of locks you in and ups your game that much more. So thank you guys so much for being on tonight. If you have any questions or anything, we're there on Slack, and don't forget to check in this evening and then we'll see you and tell the right story tomorrow. Okay. Bye, you guys.
Thank you, Christy. I was going to add one reminder. Tomorrow wraps up the end of the 10-day challenge, and we have lots of prizes to give away. So be watching for that. And thank you for everyone who participated in that.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.